As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Because I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. Rest in peace to Coolio, man. Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, let's live life, and we're back. Yeah, seen last night that Mr. Gangsta's Paradise himself passed away, man. It's crazy when we no longer are really shocked at death. Death is something that we all have in common. We are all born, we will all die, we will all see death one day. The sad part is hearing somebody die in their 40s, 50s, 20s, it no longer shocks us. For the older people that watch, y'all can all remember a time where people lived their lives. They lived to be old. Natural causes, disease, things like that were taking people out. Nowadays, it's us. And some people, it's drugs. I'm not going to speculate on how Coolio died or what happened. You know, that's not what we're here for. Just, I will say he played a major part in my life. Coolio got real big in 1995. I was 15 years old at the time. And that's what we were doing. We were on that gangster-ish. Gangsta's Paradise was the theme song if you were out in them streets at that time. So he does play a part in the chapters of my life. Let's jump into why we are here. Owing money, man. We've done these before, and I like doing these because there's just, they never stop. There are 2 days every week that inmates look forward to. Number one, Visitation Day. The day where you get to go over, sit down with your loved ones, hug your mom, hug your children, palm your girl's butt cheeks, smell her perfume. You get to be around someone other than what you're around every day. You get to smell something other than your cellmate's stinking ass. Second most important day of the week, Commissary Day. Now, Commissary Day was a day that always was going to be eventful. That is the day where if you've borrowed something from somebody, it's time to pay it back. That's the day when you find out that you may have been tricked. That's the day when you either go get your commissary and do what you're supposed to do with the money your people sent you, which is survive, eat, or you pay the debts that you've acquired inside the jail or prison. You owe other inmates your mama's hard-earned money that she sent you. Some guys are gonna pay that. Some guys never had it to pay when they got it loaned to them to begin with. You know you took that dope knowing you couldn't pay it back. You knew this day was gonna come and this man was not playing about his money. Commissary Day has arrived. You don't have it. I told y'all about borrowing things, loaning things out, and owing people. So that's what we're doing today, you know? When you can't pay your debts. And we know it always ends bad. With all that being said, man, you know how to seen it. You know how to lived it. So let's relive it. All right, I guess we'll start off by me giving y'all the rundown on the loan game. We do what's called store boxing. For y'all that watched my channel, y'all know about store boxing. If you watch other prison channels, you know about store boxing. Store boxing is when I loan you something and you're going to give that back to me, but you're going to give it back with interest. For you guys that are new, you green beans, the guys, the first timers, the guys that are fresh in the system, I'm going to give you 2 soups. On Thursday, we're going to commissary. You're going to give me back 4. You've been in the system a while, you ain't going for that. I'm going to give you 2, and on Thursday, you're going to give me back 3. And if I rock with you like that, hey, man, just take the 2 soups and give the 2 soups back. That stuff can add up fast, especially when you look at the interest. When you look at, say, a pack of duplex cookies, that's $1. You go and get two. That $2 just turned into $3. Now you want some sodas to go with that, right? So you're going to go get you a 4-piece. That 4-piece just turned into 8, or it turned into 7. You do this back to back to back to back, and the next thing you know, you owe a whole lot of money. You're going to do it enough with one guy that he's going to say, look, man, you're in too deep. I can't give you nothing else. Now, there's a whole bunch of store-box guys. So you're going to go to the next guy, and he's going to give it to you. And they're going to keep giving it to you. Then when store day comes around, this is not like the real world where when you owe a bill, somebody calls you and harasses you or comes and knocks on your door. No. When store day rolls around, if you do not have that money, it's usually going to lead to violence. Depending on who you are, how you get down, and who you're dealing with, they might give you a one-time pass. Hey, look, man, you said you was going to have it. Your word is everything. Your word ain't shit. If you ain't got to come next store day, well, you know what I got to do. Next time store day rolls around, if you do not have that money, expect to see violence. Now, guys will borrow not just because they're hungry. Drugs fuel the penitentiary. Everywhere you look, somebody's smoking weed, somebody's smoking tobacco, dudes are doing K2, you got dudes in there shooting dope, smoking crack, drinking alcohol. All that stuff costs money. A lot of these guys are going to want your people to cash app money to their people. That's a new thing. That wasn't a thing when I was in there. When I was in there, it was green dot, street to street, meaning your people go meet by people on the street. But now it's cash app. Everything is cash app. So you're getting high. Hey, here's a cash app. Have your people send that $200 to my people. And if they don't get it, well, there's going to be problems. That is very common. So guys, some guys will take commissary for small amounts of drugs. Say a 40-piece, a 50-piece. Yeah, you know what? I'll take commissary. I'll do that for you. You don't have it. So you go take and borrow $50 worth of commissary. So now you owe a man $80, maybe $90 back. Your habit gets the best of you, and you've done, in 1 week, you've done $300 worth of dope, $300 worth of crack. But you've borrowed that money. So you paid $300, but you owe $500, $600. It can add up fast. This is why I tell you, do not borrow. Do not indulge in the drugs. Do not indulge in any of that. Do your time, stay away from that stuff, and go home, or you're going to have a rough time at some point. When I think of guys that just could not get it right, guys that indulged, guys that just had to borrow, that just always had to test the waters, one guy comes to thought, to name, to mind: DC. I met DC, I want to say, in 2007. DC was 19 when he was sentenced to 35 years for a series of robberies. He robbed 3 different 7-Elevens. It might have been the same 7-Eleven now I think about it. But he had 3 counts of armed robbery on a 7-Eleven with a pellet gun. Now you're probably thinking, they gave that man 35 years for robbing 7-Elevens with a pellet gun. It doesn't matter if it's a real gun, if it's a fake gun. If you put your hand inside of a bag, if you put your hand under your shirt and just point your fingers to make it look like a gun. If you rob somebody with the pretense that you have a weapon, that is armed robbery. At 19 years old, DC, first-time offender, would be given 35 years. When he came into the system, he was a young, scared, fat kid. There's no other way to put it. Maybe 6 foot tall, and reminded you of somebody off the Sandlot. Soft as dollar store cotton. You know what I mean? Just was not made or built for what lied ahead. Didn't take him long to fall in with the flunkies, the guys that you just can't get right. He fell in with that crew. The drugs at this time, when I met DC, when I first met DC was an okay guy, man. The penitentiary hadn't corrupted him yet. He hadn't turned into what he would ultimately turn into. He hadn't gotten all the way junkied out yet. He still had help coming in from the streets. Still had people that cared about him. But all that would change. DC falls in with this group of guys and they get high. So it's a no-brainer to know that it's only a matter of time now. And DC's kicking it with get high guys. DC's gonna get high as well. Now, just because I was in prison doesn't mean that I gotta hang out with gangsters. I gotta be around killers and savages all day. I'm not a bad person, man. I generally like to surround myself with good people out here in the real world and in prison, even though in prison there's slim pickings. When DC first came in, he was a good dude, man. I latched on to him. I tried to give him the game. His people did what they could, but they got other people to take care of out there in the world. They can't be sending him, being a fat guy, $150 every week, every 2 weeks. So I would start tattooing on DC, right? And I would have him look out. Like he would, when I wasn't tattooing him, he was my hawk. He would sit in the pod. He would look for the guards. He would make sure I didn't get caught tattooing and go to the hole. I gave the guy the game. The do's, the don'ts. Stay away from the gambling. Stay away from the gangs. Stay away from the gays. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And he was listening. Then comes Jimmy Bones. Jimmy Bones at the time was the leader of the AB, if you'll call it out here. Straight flunky. No other way to put it. Jim Bones is a flunky. These guys start gravitating towards him. No sooner than he hits the yard, he starts latching on to younger white dudes because they're easy to control. I see DC kicking it with Bones. Me and DC's days of kicking it are over. I don't agree with the, we're superior, hate this person, and that was the message they were preaching. We don't program like that out here where it's blacks versus whites and all that. No, I mean, we're all locked up. And that's how we rock out here. So with him now kicking it with Bones, I couldn't kick it with him no more. Bones and him introduced him to the dope game. All these dudes are getting high 90 miles an hour. Any dope that comes on the yard, they gotta have it. Crack, coke, anything you can name, they touch it, they do it, they snort it, they smoke it, they shoot it, they gotta have it. I would see DC in the visitor room. By now, I've pretty much fallen back from this dude. Mind you now, I met him in 2007. By now, it's probably 2009, 2010. I've fallen back from him. I'll still say what's up in passing, but our days of kicking it are over. You ever seen a fat person, no offense to my big people, lose weight and you can tell that that person used to be fat and they still look like they want to be fat, but they're not? That was DC. DC had lost a lot of weight, and that was because his mother was sending this money in, and rather than spending it on commissary, he was getting high. He would use up all the money she sent him. He would go to store and he would spend all his commissary, and then he would go store box large amounts of commissary from other guys. Now for a while he could kick the little bullshit lies to his people and they would send it. Oh, my TV blew up. Mama, damn, your TV blew up again? Man, these TVs are garbage. Please send me $213. His mama would send it. I left my CD player and my CDs laying out in the pod on the bench. Somebody stole it. Please send me $100. And she would send it. So here he is, back to back, spending all the money she's sending him. He's spending that on drugs. And then she's sending him more money to pay back the debts that he has now run up, so that he can go buy more drugs. This would only happen for so long until eventually your people either get tired of doing it, say we're not going to do it, or they stop doing it. His people stopped doing it. They caught wind of it. They seen him in the visitation room. Oh, hell no. You're getting high. You can't tell me you ain't getting high. Like, you look bad. How do you look like that and you're locked up? Like, you look like you have cancer or something like that. You look like you're dying. You were almost 300 pounds when you came in here, 6 foot tall. Now you're about 210. You look terrible. So they cut him off. Meanwhile, he owes all these guys. So he turns to what I taught him. He turns to the tattooing to start being able to pay off his debts. Tattooing every second of the day. And then taking all that money that he's getting from the tattooing, paying off his debts, and then any extra money he had, he would get high with it. He gets in deep. I'm talking to where anybody that's ever battled an addiction, You know, my heart goes out to you, but you know what it is, man. It starts off like a little monster or like a spark, and then it turns into a raging fire to where he had ran up debts with everybody. Store day is approaching, and not only is his people cut him off, other dudes are starting to cut him off too. Don't nobody want a junkie tattooing on him. The chances of cross-contamination, hepatitis, AIDS, all these things are real when getting a penitentiary tattoo. And if your tattoo man looks like he's got all of that and then some, well, he's going to start to lose business. Dudes are telling DC, we know what time it is, man. You done borrowed all this money. My homeboy said you owe him money. Like, I don't care who you pay back. You better have my money on store day. Oh, I got you, I got you, I got you. That store day rolls around. Mind you now, this is, if I had to take a rough estimate, I'd say it's about 5 different guys in our building that DC owes money. And you're talking $75 or better to each one. A bag of chips, a soup, and a soda will get your front teeth knocked out. Less than $2 worth of commissary will get you beat up. Because as I've told y'all in the past, it's the principle. It ain't the amount. It's the principle. You want it to be the principle. Because when it does become about the amount, things get much worse. DC gets to fight in that store there. I think it was like it was the middle of the week, if I remember right, a Wednesday or a Thursday. He starts going to dudes. Dudes already seen it coming. They had been told him, we're not falling for it. If you ain't got it, you're going to pay. He goes to these guys and tries to kick the sob stories. They're not hearing it. They put hands on DC, beat DC up, right? I think it was like 2 or 3 different fights he got in. So now I see this young dude, at this point he's about 21, that's lost all this weight, that's been cut off by his family, that has a full-blown drug addiction, that is doing 35 years in the prison, walking around with a bunch of Aryans all beat up on. Do you think they did anything to help him as black dudes beat him up? As white dudes beat him up? Hell nah, they didn't do nothing. They were soft. You think he learned his lesson? He didn't learn his lesson. I remember on one situation where he went up to Big T, selling Big T's from Richmond. That was my dude. And T told him, come in the cell. And I'm not coming in the cell. T would have hurt him in that cell. DC told him, I'm not coming in the cell, man. I'm not coming in the cell. In front of everybody, scared to death. I'm not coming in there. Like, and you got to watch, because other dudes will come up behind you and shove you in the cell if you're not paying attention, right? So he's watching what's going on around him. He's telling T, I'm not coming in the cell. And T's telling him, well, you're going to do something to make it right. I'm thinking to myself, T's not gay. I know he's not about to tell this man he's going to have to do what I think he's going to have to do. And T said, let me body shot you. Huh? 3 shots to the body, man, and that'll keep me from beating your ass till next week. DC, all right, lifts his arm. T hits him. Boom, boom, boom. 3rd time hits him, cracks a rib, breaks a rib. So now you got DC strung out, Aryaned up, bruised up, walking around, broke rib, limping, strung out on drugs. This is why I tell you don't borrow things from people in prison. Now, by no means was DC a fighter. He was more or less, if you called him in the cell, he came in there, you were just going to beat on him. Punch him, he was going to ball up. He might try to throw a little wild punch, some little overhand, like, what is that? Like a pitch punch. But he couldn't fight. He would just get beat up. He'd been beat up enough now that he was pretty good at getting beat up. General rule is, if you rock with somebody and that person starts to run up debts, that person starts to owe a whole lot of people, in due time, people are going to come to you. Hey, what's up with your homeboy? Especially if somebody checks in. Oh, they're coming to you for that debt. What's up with the money your homeboy owes us? You rock with him, right? We need that. Now, these dudes have watched DC get beat up time and time again. I know in other states, like black dudes and white dudes fighting would cause a complete race riot. Over here, it's not that way. That stuff happens every day. If you and the man got a problem, y'all faded, it's over with. These dudes start applying pressure to these Aryan dudes. This is when we really see what they're made of. They start applying pressure to these Aryan dudes. These Aryan dudes are not innocent by any means. They're doing the same thing he's doing. They've just got more money than DC has. And they're getting DC to go get these drugs. They're doing the drugs, watching him get beat up behind the drugs, and then just sitting back like, hey, we ain't got nothing to do with it. Dudes start applying pressure to these Aryan dudes. These Aryan dudes start checking in. Some of these dudes ain't even had hands put on them. just told, come Thursday, if the money ain't, DC ain't got the money, I'm beating him up and you up. Like, what's his name was going to do Smokey and Craig. Big Worm was going to come after Smokey and Craig because they both smoked his shit up. Same concept. Come this week, commissary comes. If he ain't got my money, I'm messing you up and I'm messing him up. The Aryan dudes start checking in. They don't want no pressure, so their numbers, which were already small, start to dwindle down to nothing. I will give DC this. He wouldn't run. He wouldn't check in. I'd seen guys check in for much smaller situations. This guy did not have flight in him. He would not run. He would wear the ass whooping every single time. It gets to a point where it's a no-brainer. He owes so many people that there's no possible way he can dig himself out this hole. Dudes will no longer give him anything, so he's going to other buildings to get stuff. So now he owes people all over the compound money, and his name has become bad. He gets put in a situation where the guys tell him, you're going to get on the phone and tell your mama what you've done, and she's going to straighten all our books out, make sure we all get our money, or pretty much we're going to kill you. Now, he's been told this by several different guys. And when somebody tells you, I'm going to kill you, it's not to be taken lightly. They're not words that people just throw around, because with you saying that to me, my first instinct is I'm going to go get a knife and I'm going to stab you till you die, because now I'm afraid for my life. He's being told by guys, if you do not pay us, we're going to kill you. You're going to get on the phone. You're going to tell your mama that you got a dope habit. You're going to tell her everybody you owe. And if she don't pay, you die. DC's on the phone one day. A dude goes up there and stands beside her and says, who you talking to? You do not interrupt a man while he's on the phone. That is in like the prison rule books. If you come up and start talking to me while I'm on the phone and you interrupt the 20 minutes I got to talk to my family while I'm on the phone, that usually turns into a fight right then and there. But DC had shown time and time again, he would borrow, he would get beat up, but he wasn't going to fight about it. Dude comes up, stands there for a minute, eavesdropping, comes to realize he's talking to his mom and says, tell your mom how you owe everybody money. DC turns and looks at him. I'm not playing. Tell your mama how you owe everybody money and you're going to send that money in. Did you do what we told you to do? Hey, man, he covers the receiver. I'm on the phone, man. I'll tell her. Give me the phone. Dude takes the phone out of DC's hands. His mother is on the phone. This guy gets on the phone and says, hey, this is such and such. I'm going to go ahead and fill you in on what's going on since your son's not going to tell you. Your son owes me and a whole lot of other people money for drugs. We're going to send you a letter with the names, the inmate numbers, and the amounts he owes. And if you don't pay it, we're going to kill him. Here's your son. Hands the phone back to DC. They do what they said they were going to do. They send a letter to DC's mom's house with a list of these inmates that DC and their owes, their state numbers beside it, and the amounts. You know what happens from there? DC's mama calls the prison, shows them. I don't know if she faxed them a copy, brought the letter up there. I don't know how she somehow gave them the letter. So then they come up and lock all these dudes up. If your name was on that list of people that DC owed, you were getting locked up. They pissed DC, and DC pissed dirty for dope. Off to the hole DC goes. He's safe, right? No. 45 days later, DC comes out the hole and they put him right back in the pod. But now you've got a whole pile of guys from all over the compound that are back in the hole under investigation. DC's mom thought she was saving DC, not knowing there's nowhere you can run in prison. You've got to come back out and face the music. He comes back out and immediately he wears one of the worst ass whoopings I'd seen him wear today. I'm talking raccoon eyes, both eyes beat black. You're not going to get on the phone. We better not see you go near the phone. You're not going to call your mama and tell her what we did to you. We will kill you. We want our money. After he heals up, they keep him isolated. You know what I mean? Like, not coming out the cell. Nah, don't do that. No. They actually feed this guy. I'm talking about he owes them money, and they're bringing him soups and packs of oatmeal because they can't afford for him to get locked back up. They want their money. Once his raccoon eyes heal up and the bruises and knots all over his face go away, they tell him, now, go get back on the phone and tell your mom that list of names with them state numbers beside it is still owed. We're not playing. We're going to kill you.
They were going to kill that man. DC's mom ultimately paid the debt. A whole lot of money to a whole bunch of different inmates. Because her son, at 19 years old, wanted to rob 7-Elevens with a pellet gun, get sent off to prison, join the Aryan Brotherhood, run up debts, get hooked on heroin, and owe everybody around him. The moral of today's story is, first and foremost, live your best life. Do not get locked up. Don't go to prison. It's not like the TV shows. They do not show you what you should see. They show you bits and pieces made for TV. They don't show you behind the scenes. They don't show you the sneakiness. They don't show you the guys with the doors shut and they're shooting dope in their veins and smoking up drugs. They don't show you the ass whoopings dudes get on store day when their debts aren't paid. They don't show you the mothers, like DC's mom, that sit at home scared to death that her baby, this is her child, somebody she gave birth to, her boy, that's doing 35 years, that is in fear for his life, that is going to continue to do the same thing day in and day out. They don't show you that. And it's not something you ever want to be a part of. The saddest part of all this is, the last time I saw DC was 2012. I got shipped from there in 2012. He was still doing the exact same thing. When Little Bubba was still locked up, and Little Bubba is back locked up. When Little Bubba was still locked up, he was up Greensville. I'm on the phone with him one day, and he's like, yo, what's somebody here that says they know you? Who is it? Hold on, I'll put him on the phone. He puts DC on the phone. Hello? Hey, it's DC, man. What's up? Bubba told me about you. I heard about your YouTube channel. You still at Greensville? Yeah, I'm still up here, man. You know I'm doing my thing. Doing his thing means still being a flunky, still being a junkie, still owing everybody. That had become his life. Last I heard, he got caught with a bunch of shanks, was holding the weapons for the Aryans. Either somebody told on him or they randomly shook his cell down and he got shipped off to the mountains. So now he's at a Supermax, 23-1, and all this started because he robbed 7-Eleven with a pellet gun. And this will be his life for 35 years. I'm sure at some point he'll wisen up or grow up and stop. But at the end of the day, he still has 35 years of his life that he is going to do behind the wall. And everything that's happened to him, everything that will happen to him, will make him ultimately who he is. There's people watching this video right now that will go out, even after hearing all this, and commit crimes. There's people that won't see tomorrow or next week's video because they will get locked up, even after hearing and seeing all this. And that's what's sad. To anybody or any troll or any channel that says prison channels glorify prison or that I try to make prison seem cool, you're stupid. This is aimed at keeping people from going to prison. I don't ever want anyone to walk in those shoes, to walk in my shoes, or to walk in DC's shoes. You know, I got a homeboy, Mark, and you'll see Mark soon. I picked Mark up from the bus station Tuesday morning. Mark had been in prison 19 years. I'll let Mark tell his story. He had been in prison 19 years. I picked him up Tuesday, took my dude shopping, new wardrobe, put money in his pocket, made sure he was straight. He came out with nothing but what he had on his back. He did pay his fines while he was down. You know, Wednesday he got his license back. Somebody gave him an old broken down truck. Wednesday he fixed that truck, went to DMV, got a license, registration, insurance, and he got out Tuesday. And by Wednesday he's a licensed driver. He starts work with me Monday. The man did 19 years. And he'll tell you as well as I will, it was all for nothing. If you're not going to listen and you find yourself locked up, remember this. Do not borrow from people. Avoid the gangs. Avoid the gambling. Avoid the debts. Avoid engaging in any type of gay activity. And even if you're not locked up, use your brain. Do not do drugs. It's not that hard. You don't have to quit if you never start. That's all I got for you. I'm going to get into the house. Just got home from work. I'm tired. And my day has come to an end. Once again, rest in peace to Coolio. But anyways, these jails, institutions, detention centers, these facilities, they're all just crazier worlds inside of a already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. And to all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. And y'all know how we do. Salute.